Hi, everybody. I just heard the sad news that Olivia Newton-John has passed away at the age of 73. And I've been wanting to make a video for the longest time now on the Grease soundtrack because I've never really talked about this on my channel, but one of my earliest, maybe my earliest musical memory of hearing music and getting excited about it was from the soundtrack to the movie Grease. My parents had it, and it's the earliest memory that I can think of me listening to music and really being drawn to it. I held off on making the video because I couldn't find the original vinyl copy that my parents had. I don't know, it's just been lost over time. I thought maybe they had it somewhere, but I could just never find it. And I thought, well, I'll just pick up one somewhere and I'll use that for the video. Well, I never got around to doing that. And now with hearing the news that Olivia Newton-John has passed away, I thought maybe now would be the time to share some of my memories of this soundtrack and this music and how it was really important to me getting into music. It's my first memory of being drawn towards music and really being attracted to it and being, really focused on it and just being really into it. I have very clear memories. When you think about when you're younger, this soundtrack came out in April of '78, so my parents probably had it. I think I was like 8.5, 9. My parents got it, and I can remember I had one of those like a suitcase type record players, and I would just put it on there and listen to it. And what really got me was, first of all, the songs. I mean, I was thinking about this as I was making this video that I haven't listened to this soundtrack album in ages, but I bet you if I put it on right now, I could probably sing along to every single song on it because, well, a lot of these, you still hear a lot of these songs to this day. They're sort of, classics, Summer Nights, Hopelessly Devoted to You, You're the One That I Want. And so I bet you, having not heard some of these songs in ages, that I could still probably sing every word to them because at that time I didn't have any records. My parents had records, but they tended to be, I'm 100% Irish. So my parents had a lot of Celtic and Irish records, and this was like the only rock and roll record that I remember them having. My mom had a couple Elvis singles, but this was the album that I heard this, and it just got me so excited and really drew me in to rock and roll. And I still think that it's a reason why today I have this soft spot in my heart for 50s rock, and I really think it's because of this soundtrack, because it was a double record, and sides 3 and 4 were rock 50s rock stuff from Sha Na Na. And it's supposed to, if you've seen the movie, it's the scenes at the end when they're at the dance off or the dance competition or whatever. These are a lot of the songs that were from that dance competition, and I remember these like Rock and Roll Is Here to Stay. I remember I loved Born to Hand Jive, like that rhythm that it had. Still to this day, like a Bo Diddley rhythm. I just love that type of thing. And I think Hound Dog was on there. It was just, great 50s rock. And the stuff from the movie, I don't even think I had seen the movie because I remember my parents thought it was too, I'm sure it wasn't R-rated. I'm sure it was PG. But I was too young, or they felt I was too young to see this movie. But I had heard this, and I remember years later seeing the movie and then connecting these songs that I had burnt into my brain to then seeing them inside the movie, and it was just great. But just the songs from here, the title track, Grease, Frankie Valli on vocals is really cool. I mentioned Summer Nights already, that rhythm to it. It's just so melodic. It's so catchy. Hopelessly Devoted to You. Okay, as when I was younger, I didn't like that one as much. You're the One That I Want. I love that. And I'll tell you another thing that influenced me with this soundtrack was, I started playing bass when I was like about 12. But here, even at 9 years old, I remember being drawn to the bass and the sound of the bass on this. And to this day, I consider You're the One That I Want to be like just a fantastic song for the bass. If you ever sat down and tried to play it, the bass is just moving all over. And the sound of the bass on a lot of the songs on this record really influenced what I would consider to be a great bass sound. And to this day, I've got to my left of me, I have my Fender Precision bass with flat wound strings on it and a mute, a foam mute at the bottom. And a lot of that is because of this. I remember hearing this and hearing the bass on this and being drawn to the bass guitar. Sandy, that one's fun. Beauty School Dropout. This, and here's one that I really, really loved when I was young. Look at Me, I'm Sandra D. Just the feel of it or something, I don't know, you know. And it was not that long ago, like a couple years ago, I sat down and took out my bass and figured out a whole bunch of these songs. And that was the first one that I sat down to figure out because it's just such a cool song. Grease Lightning, that one I really loved as a kid because it was fast and it was sort of, you know, one of the harder, heavier, if you will, songs on the record. And it also, I'm pretty sure, for some reason I think that my record version had it bleeped out, but I'm pretty sure they say the F word in the movie, and I think it's bleeped out on the version of the record that I had when I was growing up. But as a kid, you know, imagining what they were saying in there and knowing that it was a curse word. I think I remember older kids telling me like, oh yeah, they say the F word. And the first time I heard it when it was uncensored, I was just, you know, floored. And the dynamic between Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta, their vocals, you know, the Summer Nights, the way they traded off and everything. It was super fun, man. And it just really burnt something into my brain about this love for melodic, old school kind of rock. It was just something really great that I just never left with me. And I've wanted to make this video for a while to talk about how important the Grease soundtrack was to me. If I really go back, you know, I always say AC/DC 1980 was the moment. Before that, it was hearing Kiss and Ted Nugent from my uncle. But even before that, if I try to take it back another step, where it really, really started was the soundtrack to Grease. I was just at the right age, you know. I was 8, 9 years old when this came out, and it had an impact on me. So it's really sad, you know, to hear that Olivia Newton-John has passed away at 73. She was a really important part of the soundtrack to my early life, and I can just hear her voice in my head to a lot of these songs and everything. And I've always loved that movie. I always had a soft spot for that movie. I can recite the dialogue. I could probably sit down and recite the dialogue to that entire film. You know, it's just something that really takes me back to my youth, a really sort of special place in my heart, and a lot of memories around that movie. So really sad news to hear of her passing, but her voice and this soundtrack is really what set me off into being a fan of rock music. So thank you for that, and Olivia Newton-John, rest in peace.